Thank you, Ludovic. This was great advice. I don't know where you were when I was starting my studies. Anyway, I also wanted to say welcome and congratulations. My name is Jarek and I'm a former student. I graduated last year. I did my master's degree in TESOL first at this university, and then I did my PhD degree. I investigated Polish migrants' identity in Scotland. So I was thinking what kind of advice to give you today, and I really wanted to say something that would be practical, honest, something that you can use somehow, and also something that is not something that comes up in the first page of Google search if you search for how to prepare for your studies or whatever. So I thought that, although I only have 5 minutes left, but what I will talk about are two things. So the power of mind and turning challenges into advantages, which is something, a strategy or technique that helped me a lot. So first, the power of mind. I wish I could teach you this, but I probably wouldn't be here, would I? I would be locked up somewhere in a base for experiments. But the power of the mind that I want to talk about is pretty amazing as well. So basically, you've heard a lot about perceptions and self-perceptions today from the previous speakers. So about the importance of who you believe you are and how you perceive yourself. And I would like to add to that. So when I was doing my PhD study, which was a social linguistic study, there was an unexpected twist in the study. So I ended up reading a lot about psychology and education psychology. And this is where my interest in this kind of thing developed. So there is plenty of research that provides evidence for how our self-perceptions actually influence our, of course, self-esteem, self-confidence, and then our behavior and our actual performance on many, many levels. So again, I want to remind you to how important it is how you perceive yourselves. So maybe first I'll tell you how I perceive yourselves. You may be tired of that praise, by the way, because everybody's talking about it, but I do believe as well that you're very motivated. This is why I admire you, because obviously you all came here with one goal. You want to develop your career. Many of you had to leave their families and homes behind. Many of you had to move to another country. And this is great. And this is what I want you to remember when you're studying. I want you to stop thinking of yourselves as just students who don't know anything and they can only take instructions from the more knowledgeable people. But start thinking about yourselves as future professionals, educational leaders, researchers, academics, because this is who you are. You are developing to become these people, but you are already, in a way, these people in the making. So I want you to remember this. And this frame of mind actually helped me as well when I was doing my master's and then my PhD. And there was an interesting turning point in my PhD when I felt that I want to take control of my learning, because this is what it's all about. This is the reason I'm telling you about these self-perceptions. It's about taking control of your learning. To remember that you are these professionals, you are in a way, clients of the university, so you paid money to receive great training, to receive great knowledge, and don't be afraid to make use of these resources. So make use of the library, make use of the workshops, lectures, make use of your supervisors as your resource. And it's perfectly normal. So the interesting turn that I mentioned was when I stopped feeling like that student that has nothing to say about his own work. And I actually started to tell my supervisors, no, this is staying. I'm not deleting this because I want this to stay. This is my work. Of course, I needed knowledge to do that, so I couldn't just do it at the beginning. But there was a point when I felt that I just knew what I wanted and I could justify it. And my supervisors enjoyed it as well, apparently. They told me afterwards. They didn't tell me at the time. I guess they didn't want me to become even more cocky. But it was great. It was great when this turning point happened. And another thing about this power of mind that I wanted to tell you, there is, again, a lot of research into how visualizing success leads to actual success, to actual improvement in performance. And it's funny, but it works. And you can visualize long-term or short-term success. When I learned about it, I tried with long-term, with short-term goals. So for example, I would sit in the morning and visualize the moment I finish writing a chapter in the evening. It may sound funny, but it works. It's not just thinking I'm going to finish it today, but it's actually imagining all the emotions that you will experience. And I think maybe that's why it works, because you're subconsciously trying to achieve that state of mind and these emotions. But it works. So this is another way that you can use your mind for your own advantage. You can also, don't throw rocks at me, but you can also try meditation. I started to do it during my PhD study as well, and I can only say that it's great. So please give it a try. And now finally, how to turn obstacles or challenges into advantages. This is very important, and it helped me a lot. Turning challenges into advantages. So firstly, don't let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. So remember this, don't let anyone tell you this, because I, as a student, had to listen to this kind of advice. I had a family when I started my PhD, and I had a job when I started my PhD. So, unsurprisingly, a lot of people around me would tell me, it's just not going to work. It's too much work, you're not going to make it. But I did, and I believe it was in a time that is shorter than average. So, why? Why did it happen? How did I manage? Because I have a family, I have 2 children. I knew exactly when I need to study. I knew exactly when I can afford to have fun or afford to have to study. For example, in the morning when I came home at 9 o'clock after dropping my kids off at school, I knew I had 2 or 3 hours to study, because after that I had to start making lunch. After that I have to go pick them up, bring them home, give them lunch, another 2 hours for study. After that, make supper, put them to bed, tell them bedtime story, 2 hours. And that was my day off from work. But as I said, and I've said it many times to my friends afterwards, that this is exactly why I managed. I'm a lazy person in general. I don't think I would have managed if I didn't have to use that time that I had available. Not every one of you will have children or a job, but there are many other obstacles or challenges that you can learn to turn into advantages. So, for example, your supervisors, you'll be frustrated many, many times when they ask you to revise that bit for the millionth time, revise that chapter or section or whatever. But guess what? After you graduate, you'll have to do it many times as well. If you work as a researcher or if you want to publish papers, you'll be asked that all the time. So when your supervisors do it, you may think that it's a practice, it makes you stronger, it teaches you to deal with different kinds of people, and so on and so on. So this is another possible obstacle that you may treat as an actual advantage. This is all that I wanted to tell you. Feel free to talk to me afterwards, or email me or message me, and I would love to talk to you and offer you my help. Thank you.